Chapter 14. The Magnificence of Jehovah's Celestial Throne. John begins to share with us further soul stirring visions. By inspiration, he is still in the Lord's day. So, what he describes has deep meaning for us who are actually living in that day. By means of these visions, Jehovah lifts the veil of invisibility on heavenly realities and gives us his own view of his judgments to be executed on earth. Moreover, whether we have a heavenly or an earthly hope, these revelations help us to see our place in Jehovah's purpose. All of us, therefore, should continue to be keenly interested in John's expression. Happy is he who reads aloud, and those who hear the words of this prophecy, and who observe the things written in it. Revelation 1 3. What John next beholds surpasses anything presented by video to modern man. He writes, After these things I saw and look, an open door in heaven, and the first voice that I heard was of a trumpet speaking with me, saying, Come on up here, and I shall show you the things that must take place. Revelation 4:1. John in vision penetrates the invisible heavens of Jehovah's presence, exalted far above physical outer space, as explored by human astronauts, even far above the galaxies of the material universe. As though by entering an open door, John is invited to feast his eyes on the breathtaking panorama of the ultimate spirit heavens, where Jehovah himself is enthroned. Psalm 11, 4, Isaiah 66, 1. What a privilege. The Bible does not identify this first voice like Jesus' strong voice heard earlier. It has a commanding trumpet like sound. Revelation 1, 10, 11. It brings to mind the penetrating horn blast that signaled Jehovah's presence at Mount Sinai. Exodus 19, 18 through 20. Undoubtedly, Jehovah is the majestic source of the summons. Revelation 1 1. He has opened the doors so that John in vision can enter the most holy location in all the vast realm of Jehovah's sovereignty. Jehovah's splendid presence. What does John see? Listen as he now shares with us his grand experience. After these things I immediately came to be in the power of the Spirit, and look, a throne was in its position in heaven, and there is one seated upon the throne. Revelation 4 2. In an instant of time, John is spiritually transported by Jehovah's active force to the very throne of Jehovah. How thrilling for John! He is given a dazzling preview of those very heavens wherein he and the other anointed Christians have reserved for them an incorruptible and undefiled and unfading inheritance. 1 Peter 1 3 through 5, Philippians 3:20. For those whose hope is to live forever on earth, John's vision also has profound meaning. It helps them to comprehend the glory of Jehovah's presence and of the heavenly ruling structure used by Jehovah in judging the nations and afterward in governing human lives on earth. Jehovah is indeed the God of superb organization. Much of what John observes up there in heaven resembles features of the tabernacle in the wilderness. This was constructed about 1,600 years earlier as a sanctuary of true worship for the Israelites. In the Holy of Holies of that tabernacle was the Ark of the Covenant, and it was from above the solid gold cover of the ark that Jehovah himself spoke. Exodus 25, 7 to 22, 17 to 22. Hebrews 9 5. Hence the cover of the ark served as a symbol of Jehovah's throne. John now sees the reality of that symbolic representation. The sovereign Lord Jehovah himself sitting in exquisite grandeur on his lofty heavenly throne. Unlike earlier prophets who had visions of Jehovah's throne, John does not describe it in detail, the Holy One who occupies it. Ezekiel 1:26-27, Daniel 7 9 and 10. But John gives us his impression of the enthroned one in these words. And the one seated is in appearance like a jasper stone, and a precious red colored stone. And around about the throne there is a rainbow like an emerald in appearance. Revelation 4 3. What incomparable magnificence! John perceives a serene, scintillating beauty like that of lustrous gleaming gemstones. How appropriately this agrees with the disciple James' description of Jehovah as the Father of the celestial lights. James 1:17. Shortly after writing Revelation, John himself stated, God is light, and there is no darkness at all in union with him. John 1 5. What a superbly glorious personage Jehovah really is. Notice what that John sees around the throne: a rainbow, colored emerald green. The Greek word here translated rainbow, iris, suggests a completely circular form. The rainbow is first mentioned in the Bible in connection with Noah's day. After the waters of the deluge subsided, Jehovah caused the rainbow to appear in the cloud, and he explained what it symbolized in these words: My rainbow I do give in the cloud, and it must serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. And I shall certainly remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living soul among all flesh. And no more will the waters become a deluge to bring all flesh to ruin. Genesis 9:13-15. What then would the heavenly vision bring to John's mind? The rainbow that he saw must have reminded him of the need for a peaceful relationship with Jehovah, such as the John class enjoys today. It would also impress him with the serenity and peace of Jehovah's presence, a serenity that will extend to all obedient humans when Jehovah spreads his tent over mankind in the new earth society. Psalm 119, 165, Philippians 4:7, Revelation 21, 1 through 4. Identifying the 24 elders. John knew that priests were appointed to serve in the ancient tabernacle, so he may have been surprised at seeing what he describes next. And around about the throne there are 24 thrones, and upon these thrones I saw seated 24 elders dressed in white outer garments, and upon their heads golden crowns. Revelation 4:4. Yes, instead of priests, there are 24 elders enthroned and crowned like rings. Who are these elders? They are none other than anointed ones of the Christian congregation, resurrected and occupying the heavenly position Jehovah promised them. How do we know that? First of all, they are wearing crowns. The Bible speaks of anointed Christians as gaining an incorruptible crown and attaining to an endless life, immortality. 1 Corinthians 9:25, chapters 15, verse 53 and 54. But since these 24 elders are sitting on thrones, the golden crowns in this context represents royal authority. Revelation 6:2, 14:14. This supports the conclusion that the 24 elders portray Jesus' anointed footstep followers in their heavenly position. For Jesus made a covenant with them to sit on thrones in his kingdom. Luke 22:28-30. Only Jesus and these 24 elders, not even the angels, are described as ruling in heaven in Jehovah's presence. This harmonizes with the promise that Jesus made to the Laodicean congregation. To the one that conquers I will grant to sit down with me on my throne. Revelation 3:21. But the heavenly assignment of the 24 elders is not limited to the governmental rule. In the introduction of the book of Revelation, John said of Jesus, he made us to be a kingdom priest to his God and Father. Revelation 1, 5, and 6. These ones are both kings and priests. They will be priests of God and of the Christ, and will rule as kings with him for the 1,000 years. Revelation 26. What is significant about the number 24? In that John sees 24 elders around the throne. In many respects, these were foreshadowed by the faithful priests of ancient Israel. The Apostle Peter wrote to anointed Christians, you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for special possession. 1 Peter 2:9. Interestingly, that ancient Jewish priesthood came to be divided into 24 divisions. Each division was assigned its own week in the year to serve before Jehovah, so that sacred service was rendered without a break. 1 Chronicles 24, 5-19. It is fitting then that there are 24 elders depicted in John's vision of the heavenly priesthood, because this priesthood serves Jehovah continually, without ceasing. When completed, there will be 24 divisions, each with 6,000 conquerors. For Revelation 14, 1-4 tells us that 144 24 times 6,000 are brought from among mankind to stand on the heavenly Mount Zion with the Lamb, Jesus Christ. Since the number 12 signifies a divinely balanced organization, 24 doubles or strengthens such an arrangement. Lightnings, voices, and thunders. What John what does John next see and hear? And out of the throne there are proceeding lightnings and voices and thunders. Revelation 4 5a. How reminiscent of the other awesome manifestations of Jehovah's celestial power. For example, when Jehovah came down on Mount Sinai, Moses reported, on the third day, when it became morning, it came about that thunders and lightnings began occurring, and a heavy cloud upon the mountain, and a very loud sound of a horn. When the sound of the horn became continually louder and louder, Moses began to speak, and the true God began to answer him with a voice.